top, I'll tell you, Donald Trump tried to lie his way into a Taylor alliance this year. It was just earlier in this campaign season when Donald Trump falsely claimed he had Taylor Swift's backing because he wanted it. And he thought confusing even some people about that would help him because he knows Taylor Swift is a huge deal. He posted some amateurish AI images with those false claims online. And we'll come back to that in a moment because it hurt him. But first, the news that rocked the political and musical worlds just on debate night. Taylor Swift coming out on the big night to back the Harris-Walz ticket officially, and not just in, say, a little statement to the political press, but owning it and blasting it to all of her followers online.
The endorsement of every politician's wildest dreams, the most famous cat lady in the world.
One voter ready to speak now.
Taylor Swift is now in her endorsement era. Get it?
I'm a Swiftie. Donald Trump is going to have a hard time shaking off that debate.
She has 283 million Instagram followers.
I don't think you know about this. She says, quote, "I will be casting my vote for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz."
I am incredibly grateful, first of all, to Taylor Swift. I say that also as a cat owner, a fellow cat owner.
I'm so tired of running as fast as I can. Would I get there faster if I were a man?
This may be a sort of door swinging open for the girl dads for Harris.
I guess I'll just stumble on home to my cats. Say I didn't
Perhaps the most anticipated and potentially most consequential presidential celebrity campaign endorsement that we've seen.
The most consequential. The running mate responding in real time. And he knows it helps the Harris-Walz ticket. Swift has turned her following into civic action before, even in far less hyped, less known races. I'll remind you about 6 years back, she supported a Democratic candidate in Tennessee, which caused voter registrations to skyrocket. Even her nonpartisan reminders and appeals that people should vote have helped surge new voter registrations, like last year. And she has even in her own work shared the regret she says she later felt when she sat out past races, even though her values and women's rights were on the line.
Taylor Swift comes out against Trump.
I don't care if they write that. I'm sad that I didn't 2 years ago, but I can't change that. I'm saying right now that this is something that I know is right, and you guys, I need to be on the right side of history, and if he doesn't win, then at least I tried.
The right side of history, at least I tried. A lot of people in politics could learn something from her right there. And Republicans and the MAGA crowd had only dialed up the pressure on Swift since then, which again is a sign they view her as a threat, as someone who can affect their power and campaigns. And right-wing voices online were taking a preemptive strike with those conspiracy theories about some Biden pact to take over the Super Bowl with a Biden-Swift endorsement deal. That did not happen, but that storyline was trying to suggest something somehow sinister about her civic role or to bully and quiet her. MAGA pundits were on the attack. The implied threat was if she imposed Trump this time, this year, her career and her life would even get worse. Some pledged a, quote, holy war against Taylor Swift if she backed the Democrats at that time when Biden was the nominee. And that brings us back to Donald Trump trying to muddy the waters with his usual playbook of lies, because he posted those false claims about the endorsement. I showed you the headlines. And so note where Taylor Swift's new Harris endorsement begins. She calls out Trump's abuse of those AI images to falsely suggest that she had somehow endorsed Trump's presidential run, and noting that he's responsible for those lies because it was posted to his site. And she begins with a clear rebuttal. In this time of misinformation, which is something that people in the public eye face, her and people in politics, quote, the simplest way to combat misinformation is with the truth. And she shares her truth, outlining her support for Harris and Walz, contrasting their calm to Donald Trump's chaos. You see, or she says there, we could be led by, quote, calm and not chaos. And I'll say something else here. I'm talking to you through TV, which is an older medium. Old school communications tend to be one way and at a distance. But the world's changing. Taylor Swift is a sophisticated leader and user of the tools today, which are far more direct, two-way, participatory. And so it's not random, but quite striking that she used a very particular message to get into the weeds of action within the same endorsement announcement, telling her huge fan base, which could include people who may not have done this before, that first-time voters have to remember, in order to vote, you have to be registered. If you've never done it before, you might not know that. And so she is getting ahead of that in a participatory way. And then she signed off, now memorably, as a childless cat lady, a reference to J.D. Vance's sexist attack. And of course, this post features her and her cat, which is a Swiftian twist, which makes this post even more catchy, more memeable, and also hoist Vance's infamous, stupid, misogynistic phrase on his own petard. As Swift once sang, karma's a relaxing thought, aren't you envious that for you it's not? And that applies very clearly politically to J.D. Vance right now, the loser of this endorsement primary. Also applies to Trump backer and billionaire Elon Musk, who today responded by musing about, quote, giving Taylor Swift a child. A sexist and clearly Swift-obsessed response that shows how these men are unable to deal with her and what she does with her power. That same song actually continues, karma is a cat, purring in my lap. Me and karma vibe like that. Well, people are vibing. Most people, when you post online, if you got a few thousand likes, you think that was a pretty strong post for the year. Within a day, the Harris endorsement post has topped 9 million likes and counting. Direct referrals to that voter registration site that she flagged are already topping 330,000 as of this morning for Vote.org. We'll be updating that number as it rises. That is just the overnight number. A Swift response. It could hit millions over the weeks ahead. So the Swift effect is measurable. And during the debate, they tracked this. Searches for voter reg went up, but then it tapered off as the debate wound down, as the Washington Post reports, and that's typical. But then, quote, when Swift's endorsement dropped, it jumped back up. That's remarkable. Talk about civic engagement. Those are national trends. So Taylor Swift's single endorsement post is on par with the interest that was generated by both of these super famous candidates being on stage for 90 minutes in a televised debate. So who's afraid of little old me, as Swift once asked? Well, clearly, some of those people on the right who lost this contest over her endorsement. And clearly Trump, Vance, and Musk, and some of their bro allies who have been taught a lesson here, that all the lies, tricks, and political bullying failed. Now,